Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday, everyone. How is everyone doing? Huge bank earnings beats. JP Morgan crushing it. Retail sales coming in worse than expected. Let's see. Hey, Richard. Good morning. Good morning, Donald. Hey, Patrick. There's some dedication on the road and tuning in. Good morning, George. All right. All right, let's get right to it. This will be a quicker live stream. Retail sales headline number -1%, worse than forecast and consensus. X autos also down, nearly worse, double down than forecast. Import and export prices, import prices especially, pretty big contraction. So that is some deflationary pressure right there. We've had Waller speaking, and I still sees rate hikes going from there. What's coming out in about 10 minutes? We got industrial production, which is forecast to be in contraction. We have consumer sentiment at 9 a.m., the preliminary numbers and the inflation expectations. Inflation expectations expected to drop again. And then that pretty much wraps it up besides the rig counts. So it gets quiet after 9 a.m. The market, besides banks, which really, Citi was up, or Wells Fargo was up, UNH was up from the healthcare when I looked earlier. They had a beat. They still look to be up from the groups. Let's just do a quick refresh here. Financial again with the earnings leading the charge higher. Everything else is pretty flat to negative. Com services and technology flat to negative. Let's just do another refresh here. It was 81% for the rate hike odds in May. 82. So that is climbing. And you see here, we have one more hike, pretty much getting to that almost priced in level. The only thing that could derail it now is PCE, and that's in 2 weeks from today. But hikes, and even now just cutting potentially back down to 425 to 450, which I'm not buying at all. Solidly in greed mode. All right, in terms of gamma, 4123 is a gamma flip. Right now, we're at 4165, so still in positive gammas. You get some dampening effect on any rallies. Still, the puts don't kick in really till below 4100, so that is the key floor. And as I said, JP Morgan crushing it, at UNH up on a beat, Citi beat, Wells Fargo beat, PNC beat. I did not actually not look at BlackRock. So that's where we sit there. So are we going to get a little topping area? Excuse me. We're trading against the key support level going into the open. 4163, 4162 is support. If we go below there, we have nearly an advanced clear path. Next area I'd be watching is 4152. 4152, and then would be 41. See, we have 4148, 4152, and then there's not much till about 4133. Those are the targets that utilize the downside. To the upside, very substantial resistance. So 4175, and then about 4180. 4181 would be my key resistance levels to the upside. If it gets a bigger rally on, next major cluster is 4191 to 4192. Cycles getting back to the top area on the daily and at the top, and not yet rolling over on the weekly. And we have some minor divergences from the prior highs at the beginning of April setting up. So we are getting some exhaustion coming in here. Good morning, Heinrich. Good morning, Christoph. Do I think good financials can pull the whole market higher? Well, it's not going to have a negative effect on it, but I could see some profit taking coming in today. I mean, you have that big moves up in like JP Morgan, but the market hasn't really reacted. I mean, this was a substantial move up in JP Morgan. And, you know, they don't have the heaviest weighting, so it can provide a little buoyancy, but after the moves this week, we have some probably profit taking going into the weekend. So I would keep that in mind, especially this afternoon. And there is that major, not just from recent price action, but even back in beginning of February, there's some major resistance up here. NASDAQ, still, again, we did not really have anything that's going to affect NASDAQ today. Most of the bank stuff in UNH. UNH is the biggest component of the Dow. And so the NASDAQ already trading down a bit on. Now we're getting those firmer rate hike, at least one more rate hike expectation in, which has a dampening effect on the Dow. I mean, not on the NASDAQ and on tech. What was it? So intraday on any little rally, 13,208 is my first target. And then we have about 13,265. Fair amount, and then it would be the highs from back at the beginning of April, about 13. I go to 13.3, then 13.339. To the downside, below about 13.1. The next major support isn't till 12.987, so about 13K. So that's major support on any sell-off. So that's where we sit there. The Dow also is still hold it down from the close, trying to eke out something here. Let's just take a look at this. So support coming in at 34.84 to 34.1. We start drop below there. We have a clear path move, but I would not ignore 34,000. 34,011, but I would be looking at roughly 34,000, and then you have a clear path down to about 33.9. So there you go. You're welcome, Heinrich. To the upside, 34,270, and then 34,331 are my targets to the upside. On anything, remember, I personally would not be super aggressive to the long side today unless we get absolute momentum bars like yesterday and a strong tick. Otherwise, I'm watching with cycles at the top. We got divergences. We're up against a lot of resistance in a lot of key markets. You know, we're seeing potential some topping areas. In the Russell, if we do break above, my first target would be about 1819, 1820. If we break above there, it's 1830. Key support's 1800. Break below 1800. The next key support is coming in at 1785. The VIX still, there's no fear in this market whatsoever. I don't see this really, even if we get some sell-off. I mean, the VIX could rally back to about 1840 at the most, unless some headline comes across. The DAX now has a little, very mini double top. Very mini. Okay, so that's all I'm looking, not even triggering today. I'll be watching that next week. Again, up against not major market resistance. You're in a topping area from back in November and January of 21. So there is substantial resistance up here, but the only short-term bearish thing is that potential little double top. The notes rolling back over, 10-year notes rolling back over with the sort of the stronger bank earnings and bank crisis. What bank crisis? At least not for the big banks. You see the yield climbing back on the 10-year with that more of the rate hikes coming back in. You're climbing back on the 2-year. So we'll keep an eye on that. Also, let me pull off this old double, which I forgot to pull off. The 10-2s based off the futures, still sitting in consolidation. Dollar with these numbers out this morning and the bank earnings trying to find a bottom. I'm watching for a return back to the rotation zone through to the beginning of next week, especially with daily cycles getting to the bottom. And then we'll reassess there. Crude holding the key support we highlighted last night. If it pulls back anymore, about 81 is the next level support, and there's a major resistance at this 83.50. So those are the two levels I am utilizing, 81 and 83.50. Natty gas back to new recent lows. Again, that's why I wait for patterns. We've talked about this, people. Again, bullish. Well, we got a one-day pop, a pause, and then a rollover, 3 down days. Remember, we had the potential double, never triggered. Just be patient when it's against the daily rotation zone. There'll be good setups. Again, gold finally pulling back. Support, though, I don't see it dropping much below about 2026 today if it does pull back some more. What else do we have? The US dollar, Japanese yen rotating back up. Don't think it'll trigger this double bottom today, which is still valid, but that's what I'm looking for. It would need a close above 133.75. I just go 133.76. Euro with a little strength in the dollar pulling back, but the key support level I use is 110 at today. The pound still has a potential double in play. So other than that, the rotation zone would be out of the way if that happens, and we might be setting up with some divergences here. But key support for today, 124.50. Bitcoin, this is really running out of momentum with the cycles at the top and could be setting up a divergence, but your support level now is 29.7. Tesla looks like a slight gap down, so on any bullish thing, it'd be the gap fill 185.90. Other than that, major support 180 is major support. This would just be short-term trading in no man's land. Spiders. These spiders, after hitting the cluster area yesterday, also taking the potential double off the table. Just taking out some of these other old levels that I should have updated before I started, but I did not. Support, key support coming in at 411.85. That is your key support. Trading pre-market 412.74. So any rollover play, I'd be targeting 411.85 on weakness. On any strength, first target I would utilize is about 413.10, and then I would target yesterday's close on a gap fill play for 413.50, 413.47, and there is a cluster at 414.15, and also the prior major resistance from the highs. If it does get above 414, the next key area would be about 415.28. On the Qs, key support is, we're trading just under it. So this is key resistance 317.82. Then I would utilize yesterday's close at 319.17. The next support level down, just looking in here for a significant level. There isn't much till about 315.85 to 316. So if we can't get back above 317.80, the support level would be 315.85, and then major support for the Qs. Major support for the Qs coming in at about 314.70. Good morning, MP. Good morning, business person. What are we don't have time to go through that this morning. The indicators, that's a 5-period RSI. This is a %B. indicator, which is based off the Bollinger Bands, and this is for cycles, which is a stochastic RSI. That's where we sit right there. All right, I gotta be wrapping this up. I have a lot of things to deal with this morning. Let's just peek in. Again, I'm still holding this key support. So that's level still holding pretty good. That's the level I will be utilizing in 10 minutes going in the open. And the same resistance levels I listed earlier. I will be back after the close today. Everyone have a fantastic trading day. If you don't have any great setups or just not, if it's mediocre trading, just don't throw money away on a Friday after a pretty strong day yesterday, and based off the weekly, a decent up week after also a multi-run week. So look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll be at, unless we get some major selling pressure today, we'll be at 5 up weeks in a row at cycle tops. So just keep the bigger picture in mind. Again, trading against major resistance area. I shall see everyone after the close. Have a great trading day. Bye for now.